Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is my first sermon delivered virtually. As you can see from the different clips, I'm moving around the sanctuary and trying different things and seeing how the angles are. I ideally want to broadcast going down, but that's not always so easy to do. So I hope you can see me okay and that you'll be able to follow my sermon. This is a little bit different than what I'm used to doing because ever since I arrived at Temple Beth Shalom of the West Valley in June 11th, 2019, it seems so long ago, but it's just a few months actually. There just seemed to be something pulling me towards all of you. And so I just came off the bima and I just mingled as I spoke. And I don't really need a lot of notes. I don't read my sermons word for word. So it was pretty easy, and you actually helped because I could kind of play off of what people were thinking and saying, and it was always very much fun. And now here I am in the sanctuary all by myself, and so it's a little bit of a weird feeling, and I don't have Jerry Rosen here to do a little bit of back and forth with, or Erwin Snitz to help me out, or Marvin to make some interesting remarks, or any of you. So we'll see how it goes. It's also a little bit of a difficult week to start virtual sermons because we're starting the book of Leviticus. And so one of the first questions I asked my bar mitzvah class in September was, how many books are there in the Torah? And I'll put up my hand like that because you don't want to ask bar mitzvah students a question that you worry that they won't be able to answer. So by going like this, at least I'd get a third of them to give the right answer, which is always good. And so they'd say, 5. And I'd say, how did you know? And they'd go, because we saw your hand. And so I'd be good. But can you tell me what they are? And then some of them would get some of the books. You know, they'd start with Genesis, and maybe they'd get Exodus, and then some of them would know Deuteronomy. And so it's the two in the middle toward the back that are the problem, and that, of course, is Leviticus and Numbers. And Numbers is a very non-specific name, so they might not remember it, but Leviticus is the book that they really want to forget because it's mostly filled with information about the sacrifices in first the tabernacle and then later in the temple. The difference being the tabernacle you could move with you as you went through the desert, and the Israelites spent how long in the desert? And the answer is not 4 days, but 40 years, but maybe I should go like that. And so that's a long time. And so you need ritual. And so that's what they did. But why do you need ritual? And, that if I was again here with my bar mitzvah group, I'd say, what does prayers do for us? What does lighting the candles on Shabbat do for us? What is making kiddush? What other rituals do you do? Or what other rituals have you seen? And some, of course, some of them will know things like, we light the Hanukkah candles. Maybe not every night, but whenever we're home and we have a chance. So we did it this year on the first night and the fourth night and the 8th night. It's always nice to do the 8th night because you get all of the candles lit at once. And then they'd say, well, we do a Passover Seder. That's a ritual, isn't it? And I'd say, yes, absolutely. Why is it a ritual? And they'd say, well, you read a Haggadah, which is a part of the Seder, and the Seder itself. And you do the fingers with the 10 drops of wine, which symbolizes the 10 plagues. And they'd go on, and what do you do on Purim, where you dress up in costumes, and you have a Purim party? Is that ritual? Well, absolutely, because it's part of celebrating a holiday, and it's a symbolic representation of something that you're trying to convey. And so that's similarly here. But I can't say that it is enthralling reading. And if you have problems going to sleep at night and you can't get to the pharmacy to get NyQuil or Sominex or Ambien, which I don't recommend anyway. I used it once. The first night it knocked me out like a log, but the second night I don't remember exactly, but I felt a little bit funny. And third night, no good, and that was it. And so I've still got a bottle of Ambien somewhere buried in my things. But in any case, this could do just as well to put you to sleep. I'll read you a little bit from the beginning. This is from the Hertz Chumash, which is the Chumash that we have in our sanctuary. And it was edited by the chief rabbi of the British Empire long time ago, but it's the classic in one volume Torah commentaries. And the Lord called upon Moses and spoke to him out of the tent of meeting, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel and say to them, When any one of you bringeth an offering unto the Lord, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd or of the flock. If his offering be a burnt offering of the herd, he shall offer it a male without blemish. He shall bring it to the door of the tent of meeting, that he may be accepted before the Lord. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And it goes on and on about the sacrifices. And to a modern ear, it sounds jarring. Killing animals to thank God. Animals are God's creation. You would want to nurture those animals, secure those animals, and if necessary, perhaps for food, eat them. But the idea of offering an animal up as a sacrifice to God, even though a lot of the meat was eaten in the temple and in the tabernacle by the Kohanim, the priests, it still strikes us as vaguely incongruous. You want to do something good, and so why would you kill an animal to do that? And so let's put that aside for a minute. But the concept of doing something for God that somehow will express our thanks, our appreciation, our desire to be better, because this was a chatat, an offering as part of an atonement. I've done something wrong. How do I make it up? There has to be a process to achieve reconciliation. And so I think there's something there. If we look past the specific form and we look to the message, I think there's something that we can use. And that is that we need a vehicle to express our sense of wonderment, our sense of being alive. We're thankful that we're here. And we want to take advantage of this. We're starting a course, as you know, online for the study of Kabbalah, which the professor Boaz Huss says is not really Jewish mysticism, but we'll call it mysticism just to make it simple. But in Kabbalah, there's an idea of multiple lives, that you may come back. What is that called? Reincarnation. I never thought that was a Jewish idea until I started looking into the Kabbalah. But in any case, leaving that aside and assuming that we can't count on being reincarnated, and even if we are, maybe we'll have different challenges in the next life, I think that we want to take advantage of this life. We have one life that we know of, and we want to benefit from it. We want to enjoy it. We want to do as much good as we can. We want to accomplish as much as possible. And so I think that the message of the first Parsha of Leviticus, also called Leviticus, or in Hebrew Vaikra, is the need for a ritual system that can help us to express the things that need to be expressed. And we call that ritual. We call that a specific form of giving thanks to God and to grasping the reality in which we are here, the reality that we call life. And so it is with humility that I stand before you virtually on this Shabbat, which is in some ways almost a little bit like Yom Kippur. But in Yom Kippur, everyone comes together and we wear white and we don't eat. And in this coronavirus pandemic, we do eat, but we stay at home. And we don't go out, except maybe to the park. And we don't mingle with other people. And so it's a different form of ritual, but it's a ritual nevertheless. And although, just like Yom Kippur, it doesn't come when we want it to come, it comes when it comes. And so there's ways that we can benefit from this current pandemic and from our need to stay quarantined from one another. There's many spiritual lessons that we can derive, but spiritual lessons are not something you can learn just by reading a few pages of a book or even from hearing the rabbi talk to you. Spiritual lessons are things that we need to feel, to experience, to go through. And so as we sit in our quarantines, we don't want to just watch TV and eat ice cream and hope the time goes quickly. We want to take advantage of this time to try to ponder the existential questions that, whether we explicitly ask them or not, they're there, buried down. And this is a great time to try to bring them up. We'll continue more. I want to wish everyone Shabbat Shalom, and even though I said you shouldn't eat ice cream too much, I think a little bit of this is warranted on this Shabbat. And so I want to wish you a joyous and peaceful Shabbat, a Shabbat of community, virtually, if not in reality, or virtually, if not physically, because virtually can very much be in reality. And I want to wish you a wonderful week, a Shavua Tov, and I hope to see you all, if not in person, on video very soon, and in person not too far in the distant future. Okay, Shabbat Shalom.